If you were to ask someone in the street to nominate a best of British manufacturer, you'd be pretty safe betting they'd come up with a car company, an engineering giant, perhaps a world-leading aerospace company. But you'd be pretty safe also betting that TR Fastenings would not be on that list, even though they're a global company with manufacturing and distribution centres in 18 different countries. That's because their products are about as low-key as they come. And yet without TR Fastenings, those big brands simply couldn't function. Indeed, their world, our world, would completely fall apart. The company was founded in Uckfield in East Sussex in 1973. At first, Mike Timms and Mike Roberts, the T and R of the company name, wanted to capitalise on what they saw as inefficiencies in the fastenings market.
They could see that there was a place in the market for companies that could break down the product into smaller quantities, where the big manufacturers then in Birmingham that had everything all their own way, they would just dump a year's worth of stock on them. So it was almost like the start of just in time, and they literally jumped on that bandwagon and developed it.
Glenda Roberts joined the company 30 years ago. Today she's Global Projects and Marketing Director, and perhaps one of the best-known people in the global fastenings business.
They literally went to several large companies, Belling being one of them, remember Belling? And they made the cookers, and they were so used to getting a delivery of 10% plus or 10% minus. The guys went in, did a pitch and said, we'll do the buying for you, we'll manage the product to line for you. And that's how they developed some of the direct line feed services, and then they just expanded it.
Having started out as merchants very successfully, Timms and Roberts saw the need to be manufacturers in their own right.
I think bringing in the manufacturing, we took on a brand called Hank Rivet Bushes, sheet metal product range, and we took that on from a company in Manchester called Hall & Kay, which is where the name Hank came from. And they set up manufacturing, and manufacturing does give you gravitas, so we had both arms then. We had distribution and with manufacturing.
With a solid manufacturing and merchants business well established in the UK, the company rode the wave of globalisation in the late 90s to become a worldwide player.
It was driven by the fact that many of the UK manufacturers wanted companies to source from low-cost countries. Everyone was looking to take cost out of their business. And we floated in 1994, and that gave us obviously the war chest, let's say, to literally go out and put together a plan to grow globally. Many of the companies we were working with in the UK were global companies, and that's absolutely a mainstay of what we do today. Don't forget the smaller companies that grow, but a high percentage of our business is with the large multinationals that have gone global. So in 23 years ago, I was asked to form a global sales team with engineers and follow these companies as they went to China, to India, to the lower cost countries. These companies but wanted exactly the same service as they got in the UK. They wanted the quality of the product, they wanted all the processes, they wanted just in time. And when they moved into these new areas, the current suppliers there didn't know how to do this. So the least thing they needed to worry about was the fasteners if they brought TR Fastenings in, which is what they did. And that has absolutely spearheaded our growth in Asia. And then we did the same through acquisition in America.
It's the kind of aggressive growth strategy we're used to seeing from foreign companies, usually with British firms being swallowed up. Not this one.
We were always the acquirers, and we've acquired a number of companies over the years, so no, very much almost a British institution for us, and never any change. We've never had any aggressive attacks on us. I don't know why, because obviously we're an attractive company. We're grateful for it. We're allowed to sort of control our own destiny and our own growth pattern, and we're not finished. We've got plenty of ideas in the pipelines and areas where we need to follow to the next level. For example, last year we opened up in Thailand. We've now got a small office and warehouse facility in the Philippines. So we're literally going almost following some of the major customers where they go, Mexico, for example.
It's a strategy that's paying off. Revenue this year was £188 million. Now that's down on 2020 thanks to COVID, but margins are healthy, as are underlying operating profits. And while the array of machines turning out Hank sheet metal fastenings in the Uckfield factory may look a bit dated, don't knock it. They do the job very well and are easy to recondition in-house. Even so, they are having to make way for newer kit as new demands emerge.
You can't actually change that technology. It does what it does. What we are seeing, though, is that companies are onshoring now, and I think particularly because of COVID, people are looking for their stock perhaps a bit nearer to them than having to wait for it to come from Asia. And certainly now, fast to market, everything's about immediacy and getting product fast to market. The latest machine that's gone in there will help us considerably on prototyping. Nobody's got patience anymore to wait, 10, 12 months for a product to be developed. They want to see product pretty quickly. Electric vehicle batteries is a prime example, and we're working with mostly the tier ones. Has been our core competence, and this is where a lot of this innovation is happening. So if you look at a car now today, an electric vehicle car, not a lot will change from the outside, but what you will see is a lot of innovation in the dashboards, and then of course where the battery sits in the floor of the car. So it's not the battery per se, it's what it sits in for us, because it's got to be anchored, and wherever you need to anchor something, you need fastenings.
And Britain needs TR fastenings here, and given the strength of their grip on the global market, happily that's unlikely ever to change.